So let's recap the locomotives that we picked up at the Lindenhurst show. Um, Up first is the Mahano RSO 462 Pacific in the Reading livery, and I assure you, this is not the Pacific that I picked up in Riverhead that has a host of issues. That locomotive, if I could ever get it running proper, uh, will run. Otherwise, it's going to be a donor. I didn't pay much for it, so it may be a useful engine for another purpose. So I did clean this girl up, and the reason why I noticed that when I tested it at Lindenhurst, that there was no working light. When I took the boiler shell off, there was no light. I didn't see any sign of a light, that a light was installed. Otherwise, I would have done whatever to get the bulb working proper. But there was no light, so I put in an LED and got it to work with the weight, got it to work, and I also cleaned and lubed the motor and the piston rods. So we do have ourselves don't be bashful, a working locomotive with the light. And I'm going to back her up, and please don't derail. A little bit more. So I'm going to zoom in. Maybe you could see the light. I'm going to turn off the the light that's overhead the layout, so you could see it better. Ooh, dark, spooky. So let there be light. Don't be bashful. And you're being bashful. Did you see it? Once again, with feeling. Hopefully you saw it. So, light back on. Moving right along. So now, here is the P2K, the Pro 2000, E8, E9 in the Pennsylvania livery. Thank goodness everything was intact, save for the couplers, rather the rear coupler. The front coupler is kind of but I'm not worried about that so much. The rear coupler was missing or broken, so I put in a 148 coupler, and that's fine. It's gorgeous. Checked the motor, checked the axles, gave it proper lubrication. I put in red lithium to the gears underneath the in the trucks. put some nice Labelle 107 or equivalent into the shafts of the motors. The light works. There's only one light. There's no headlight or Mars light. I guess that was how the Pennsylvania Railroad rolled with this particular unit. And we have ourselves. You want to back up a bit? Yeah, let's back up. Glass smooth. This is yeah. So we have ourselves glass smooth. Wonderful locomotive. It's at 40% throttle, and the current draw is just is barely a trace. Magnificent beast. All right, so let's move right along. So here we have the Model Power FA2 in the CP Rail livery. Everything was, I mean, it's a gorgeous locomotive. It's got the Roco motor, which I love Roco motors. I mean, they are such solid performers. Uh, Everything was fine with the trucks, the axles, the gear, everything, and the gears. The gears did need lubrication. Took care of that. Blew the shafts of the motor. Only thing that I'm missing are the horns. I cannot, for the life of me, find replacement horns for this poor girl. I would hate to cannibalize an existing locomotive in my collection just for the sake of replacing the horns. If someone out there has horns for this girl, please give me a shout and we'll talk. And but in any event, I'm gonna back her up a bit. And even with backing her up, the light would come on, but she's fantastic. Current draw is pretty decent. Uh, it's, it's not, it's good. It's not great, but what do you expect from an older locomotive? So we have this, and she runs remarkable. So moving right along. So I guess you could say this is the moment we've all been waiting for. This is the Kato Dash 9 and a very weathered Dash 9 in the Southern Pacific livery. So, as you've noticed, it is on one of the DCCEX main lines for very good reason, because you heard this thing try to come to life and move on the test track at the workbench. Now, when I tried to get this thing working, it powered up, and then when I applied the push to throttle forward, it just stopped. And it kept doing it over and over. So just to play it safe, I reset the decoder. And then it started up, it tried to move, and then it was just struggling. Now, what it took to get this thing properly moving was to set the throttle all the way to the top. I just went to 11, speed step 126, and she got moving. So there is, I don't model the Southern Pacific, but there was something about this girl that I said, okay, I'm keeping you. So maybe you'll understand why. I am going to have to get a replacement smokestack and horns. Fortunately, Kato USA has those items for a reasonable price. So, all right, you guys are getting impatient. So let me switch on the main line. She is also missing the conductor side number board. It is what it is. So when I did reset the decoder, it went to 3, but then I reset it to her cab number, 8137. Lights off. Lights on. The bell. Now, the ditch lights, and let me switch the bell off. The ditch lights do not blink for whatever reason. There are ditch lights on this thing, but I was looking for the function. Oh, did you hear it? Did you hear the whoop sound? That's why she's a keeper. She's got the whoop sound. That's the locomotive saying hi. So, yeah, I'm nuts. So I'm going to apply speed step 4. Look at that crawl. Speed step 8. All right, let's stop. And put her in reverse. The lights are on. Let's go speed step 4. Speed step 8. Now, I'm going to speed her up a bit to 16. And stop. Let's see if we can get her to whoop again. All right, virtuosos do not perform on demand. So, now the decoder is an ESU Loc sound, and when I did a little researching, it's a Loc sound select or Loc pilot select. Folks, DCC is mysterious. It's it's not mysterious, it's just it's very intriguing. It's intriguing. So, but I'm a dyed-in-the-wool DC guy. I'm not the kind of person who needs all these bells and whistles and horns, and if it lights up and it runs, I'm a happy camper. And the U-20, the New Haven locomotive, the U-25B in the New Haven that I also got from Jerry, also has a Loc sound Loc pilot select, and the quick start guide gave you all the functions. Now, I'm not sure if those same functions work, because I know that for F3 is the coupling sound. That's when the locomotive couples up. As for what the other functions are, guys, I haven't a clue. I'm just happy that it runs. It was missing the front and rear couplers. They were both damaged. So I put 148s on, although it's not the right shank length. If I read it correctly, it's not the correct shank length for this particular Kato, but you know what? It works. Works for me. It's level with the height gauge. So all I have to do is get the smokestack and the horns. Now, I'm going to hook her up to this main line over here, so that you could see her in action. And we'll be right back. So, something I noticed awfully about this particular locomotive is that she's having a difficult time pulling. Even though this is a properly weighted locomotive, none of its weights are missing, she just can't pull for a hill of beans. So, and I've got her in a DCCEX track. The speed step is very high. I'm going to let her run a couple of more circuits, and then I'm going to replace it with the CP rail Alco unit. I am going to have I've already got the E8. All right, hold on a moment. Yeah, so I've already got the E8 ready to go on this main line. Because these silly, stupid IHCs can't handle 18-inch curves, which is what this main line has. So I'm gonna swap out the locomotive with the FA, with the FA2, and we should have better pulling power. So I'll be right back. full transparency, the IHC coaches were not cooperating, even though I did whatever I could to get them to operate properly, including fitting them with 36-inch metal wheels, adding a little weight here and there, fitting them with knuckle couplers, and yet they couldn't, they just wouldn't cooperate. So I got them off the track, and who knows what the future holds for them. These are Concord coaches, and because they still have the horn hooks, I have this boxcar in between as a transition between the knuckle coupler and the horn hook, and they're behaving. So the next thing would be to move on to the East Islip locomotives.